Hi, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? They tell me I'm Peter Case, so I'm getting ready to play a show here. And it's great to be back in Houston after 4 years. It's my first time here since whatever ever happened there happened. I can't remember what it was anymore, but it definitely happened. And really great to be back at the Duck. I want to thank Rusty for having me back in, and thank y'all for coming out. Yeah, man. Can you hear that out there? All right. Does this sound like a guitar? All right. Outside of town, there's a hiding place where the green fields sway with lavender, mustard and Queen Anne's lace, where the silent clouds go sailing in a sea of Dutchman's blue, and the lonesome tracks by the railroad cut make me think of you and a train we missed. I loved you from the first time I looked upon your face. I didn't know your story, but I could feel your wild grace. Now you got yourself in trouble. Ah, that ain't nothing new. Through thick and thin, there's always been someone watching over you. But you can put down your gun. You can put down your gun. You can put down the gun. Well, you grew up on a street where the cops don't go alone, in a town just like a wishing well, casting like a stone. Down. You can put down your gun. Put down your gun and we'll talk. Now your friends all throw their lives away, just making the rounds, 'cause they can't tell the difference between the shepherds and the clowns. They go knocking down doors, roadside every day, selling something you don't want at a price you don't have to pay. 'Cause you can put down, and you can put down your gun. You can put down your gun. You can put down your gun. Well, it's a lonely road you've traveled that's led you to this wall. It's a road that's come unraveled like it ain't no road at all. Put down the gun. Put down the gun and we'll talk. All right. Now I don't want to swear it, but it's something that I heard. How a gun in the first act will go off in the third. I don't want to hurt you and I don't want to fight, but there'll be no third act at all if someone's killed tonight. You can put down your gun. Come on, put down the gun. You can put down your gun. Put down the gun. Put down your gun and we'll talk. Thank you very much. All right. Here's a little traveling music, as Jackie Gleason used to say. This is called Every 24 Hours. Under a bridge in the black squalling rain, I could see them, but just for an instant. That ain't how it goes. Hold on a second. I got my hat on wrong. All right, let's try it again. Jumping ahead in the story there, you know. What do they say? The present moment is the greatest teacher. Not the second verse, but this verse. Oh, yeah. Driving 12 hours after the show, made the border at dawn and kept going. The moon crossed my path, I was doing the math. Will I make it? There's no way of knowing. I should have called home before she went to sleep. Now I pray the Lord for her soul to keep. Tomorrow we'll tell who's been tending the sheep. The world turns every 24 hours. The world turns every 24 hours. It turns every 24 hours. It turns every 24 hours. Now here we go. Under a bridge in the black squalling rain, I could see them, but just for an instant. The wind hauled the morning off like a train, and the skyline was lost in the distance. The skyline was lost in the distance. Who moved the furniture? Who hit the lights? Everything's changing, but nothing feels right. I thought I was smart, but that was last night. The world turns every 24. All right. Ow, 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 it turns every 24. It turns every 24 hours. Were down, and the road through the town was blocked by a flood out. Crash side, the cop waved me through, but I thought crossed 10,000 miles of moonlight, 10,000 miles of moonlight. Life's opportunities move with great speed. Pay close attention, it's not guaranteed. We live in a world of wonder indeed. And it turns every 24 hours. The world turns every 24 hours. The world turns and it turns every. It turns every 24 hours. The world turns every 24. Well, it turned every 24. Well, it turns every 24 hours. All right, thank you. Well, here we go, folks. You know, I've been writing songs since 1965. I wrote my first song in 1965. Before that, I just made up instrumental music in my bed when I was supposed to be going to sleep. I'd be rocking back and forth in the bed. They used to make me go to bed when the sun was still up. That's when I was 14 years old. No, it wasn't. It was when I was like about 5, and they made me go to bed, and the sun was still up, and I laid there in bed going, dun, 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 dun. My dad would go, be quiet. I was just getting to the good part, I would think, you know. So I'd go, he would shut the door, and I'd go, I could like hear like horns and piccolos, and I didn't even know what piccolos were actually back then, but I wrote my first song in 1965 for the girl next door. Her name was Barbie Klein. She was the first girl I ever loved, and I kissed her. The first time I ever kissed a girl, Sputnik had just started going over. That's how long ago it was. You guys remember that? Sputnik? It was a long time ago, right? Me and Barbie, man, Sputnik. And so years later, in 1965, I wrote this song for her. It was the first song I ever wrote, and it was called Stay Away From Me, I'm No Good For You. I was 11 years old, and I don't really know what I was getting at with that. But one thing I learned about it that was very encouraging is songwriting works, because I haven't seen her now for 60 years. Though I went back to Buffalo and did a big show. Me and Gerf Morlix did a show in our home theater called the Palace Theater in Hamburg, New York, and we did a show there. And I told them a story about how I wrote my first song for Barbie Klein, and I hadn't seen her for 60 years, and some drunk up in the balcony goes, she's here! But she wasn't there. All right. Now, what are we going to get at now? Well, that last song was kind of encouraging, but this next one is going to be probably the low point of the early part of the show. Now, I got to say that, like, I don't just make up songs out of thin air, man. I, like, write songs about stuff that's going on. They come to me out of thin air, but I do write the ones down that come to me. But, like, I don't just make up a bunch of science fiction, except when I am making up science fiction. Like my story about this robot that I'm working on. But, you know, he's a crime robot. But, you know, I can't really... just because the songs come to me, like I always wrote about stuff that was just happening right in front of me, you know. Like, for example, you know, here's a song I wrote in 1969. I'm just going to play a couple of verses from it, because I used to do it at these hippies' house, and I made it for my pal. He went that way in a truck, and he didn't give a fuck if he got to Woodstock or not. Well, he's gonna make the scene where the cops are mean, and I hope that he doesn't get shot. He got caught swimming nude. The cops thought it was kinda crude, so they canned him for a week or two. He was sitting in his cell in his own private hell when he was rescued by the ACLU. So that's the kind of stuff I was working on in '69. So here's a song. This is from a more recent record, and this is sort of a look back on some things, you know. I will say that early song had a lot of aspects of, like, my songs over the years, you know, jail and crime and cops. There's always cops. I don't know why there's always cops. Besides the fact that I've been arrested in every town I've ever lived in. I don't know if that could have something to do with it, or it could be the other way around. But this song doesn't have any cops. It doesn't have any jails in it. It's just a story about... Well, I'll sing it to you. In the this is about Buffalo, New York. In the raggedy wooded outskirts of the city, where the ancient elevators store the grain, and the long lake boats that used to haul the metal, are in the docks and rusting in the rain. There's a maritime supply beneath the skyway. My father took me there to buy a rope. The store was dark and jammed with all you needed for a voyage round the Cape of Good Hope. And I'll seek my fortune in the wide world, take my chances in the cold. Come what may, I'll be okay if I can only find a stretch of open road. A mysterious figure passes on the sidewalk. In ragged clothes, Father, I say, how come? He wears several dirty jackets and a top coat. My father nods and says, son, that man's a bum. I look again and see the rapt expression. The floppy hat he tips back with his thumb. The aura of the world's ragtime adventure. I said, when I grow up, I want to be a bum. And I'll take my chances in the wide world, seek my fortune in the cold. Come what may, I'll be okay if I can only find a stretch of open road. I'm traveling in a world that's filled with war zones, listening to music we've destroyed, praying to a God who's just a tyrant, for work that's just like being unemployed, eating food that's pumped with fat and water, reading books with nothing on the page, sitting in the dark to see a picture. You're better off hungry, watching a bear stage. And I'll seek my fortune in the wide world, take my chances in the cold. Come what may, I'll be okay if I can only find a stretch of open road. Only find a stretch of open road. Only find a stretch of open road. I know. It's the way it is, man. It's a pressure cooker out there. Good thing we're in here. All right. I'm a big fan of this next song. Was composed by one of the great American icons of music, songwriting, guitar playing, singing, an icon of, in her own right, a woman named Memphis Minnie. This is a song you can get on my record called, you can get it on a lot of Memphis Minnie records, but it's on my record called Midnight Broadcast. Available on CD and vinyl in Houston tonight at our special Peter Case Music Boutique in the back of the room. So here we go. Memphis Minnie. Henry, just turn the guitar up a little bit in the house because I'm going to kind of finger pick this one and it needs a little bit more edge here. Oh, here we go. Well, Papa B stubbed me this morning, stubbed me on my right arm. this morning, people. I've been looking for that sweet honey all day. Bumblebee, bumblebee, buzz, buzz. I'll keep on stinging me now, honey. Well, just because, oh yeah. Oh, baby, well, you really know your star. Well, now you can keep on stinging me, bumblebee, till yeah, you get enough. Sometimes you make me happy, baby. Then again, you make me want to cry. Sometimes you make me so happy, baby. Then again, you make me want to cry. Well, I feel so sad, mad, and bad sometimes. I'm glad I only just want to fly. Bumblebee, bumblebee, buzz, buzz, buzz. Oh, keep on stinging me now, honeybee, oh, just because, oh yeah. Oh, baby, well, you really know stop. Well, now keep on, until you get enough. Bumblebee. Ah, bumblebee. Bumblebee Blues, Memphis Minnie. All right. Are there any questions so far? All right. Here's one. Here's the one that's, they made a movie about my music and about me called Peter Case A Million Miles Away. You can watch it on YouTube. There's a version of this next song in there. We went back, they took me back into a studio. We recorded some of the songs too. It was cool. It's weird, like I told them, you know, like, they wanted to make this movie and I said, well, I made it through 65 years of my life without a movie, you know what I mean? So you're going to have to convince me, man. Because I could probably make it to the end without a movie at this point. But they were cool, and they did a good job on it. A lot of people... It's a nice movie because, like, people that like this kind of music really like it, but also just, like, regular people like it. Sorry, but... Normal people like it. Sane people seem to like it, but as well as my fans. But because the guy was a good storyteller, I made the film. But here's a song I wrote a long time back. There's no way of telling on the first day in town how far it was from the Greyhound station to midnight. And always you checked into a room at the Intella Hotel, got used to the gloom and the smell and the thrill at the sight of old man lying in hot whites. So you go up on Broadway where the sailors uproar, and the girls give themselves names like Lola or Stella Nicole. They work at a place called the Garden of Earthly Delight, and the tourists pouring from all over to take in the sight. Now in the sweet summer heat, Nick the cop walks the beat, and you feel him coming from way down the street. He's drawing lines in the dirt at your feet and daring you to cross it. All the same winos I still see in my dreams tighten up and start making scenes, and here comes Nick, all a swagger, and the old ones are whispering, toss it. And Nick picks it up and looks for who's needing it most, and the ones on the lam are all getting ready to roast. And the afternoon goes on forever like some drunken bum, till the sun finally drowns beneath the bridge and the night has begun. Down by the bay, the ship's horns are blasting the fog as we stumble and mutter and run through the gutter like dogs, with one card to play and dying to play it each night. At the back of a place called the Garden of Earthly Light. All right, here we go. So high in your room, the mirror falls with a roar, and you're staring at pieces that lay broke on the floor, and there's a knock on the door, and the guy says, there's a call on the phone. You figure nobody knows your room or your name. You guess it's someone just playing a game, so you answer it guarded, expecting to still be alone. It's Nicole. She says she's getting off early tonight. Her and the boss just had a terrible fight. And would you come down to meet her? Would that be alright? So you walk in the back door, and the first thing you hear is her song. At the Garden of Earthly Delight, the show must go on. You got one card to play, and you're dying to play it each night. In the back of the place called the Garden of Earthly Delight, you got one card to play, you're dying to play it tonight. Wave you back to the bar at the Garden of Earthly Delight. Garden Earthly Light. That was a real club out there in San Francisco. The Attila Hotel, it's still there. I don't stay there anymore. That Garden Earthly Light Club was a weird club, man. We used to play there in the Nerves, and there was a big hole in the stage, and they covered it with a rug. It was that kind of place, you know what I mean? We just lost the bass player. And they'd call up and they go, come on down, usual deal. And what that meant was that everybody in the band got a quart of beer, and like they gave the band $5 or something like that. We can't afford not to take this one. The weird thing about it, though, is you'd be out there, and it was out in this middle of a weird part of town called Potrero Hill. Like the other club I talk about is the Garden of Eden, where a couple of those girls worked at, Marcy and Nicole. But Garden of Earthly Lights, the place we played, was like, it was out in Potrero Hill, and it was out in the middle of like a super intense, weird neighborhood. And then like every once in a while, you'd be standing out in front smoking a cigarette, and the Gray Line bus tour would go by. Like it's like a back street, you know. It's like if you're out in front of here, and a Gray Line bus went by, and people are looking at you. But you know how it is. It's all entertainment in America these days. We all entertain each other in America. That's what it all is, you know. It's a spectacle. So with that in mind, here's a song I wrote about going downtown and really having real high hopes that something was really going to be grooving down there when you got downtown. And I still go out downtown, and somewhere in my mind I even think something might happen sometimes. But this is called On the Way Downtown. I know there's a lot of words in these songs. You know, I believe that, like when I was a young hippie, like people go, wow, man, words, man. They're just like, you know, like, it's just words, man. But words, man, are what we got, you know, to communicate with each other, you know. And words are a bridge. And I like this poet named Alice Notley. She's a real great poet that people don't really know that much about. But she's really great, and she says, there's nothing more spiritual than words. And I believe that. So anyhow, this one's got a few words too. I mean, the other thing is I drink a lot of coffee, you know, but... Night in my kitchen writing songs. Well, how many times have I washed my face, combed my hair, and left this place? Felt the shiver in my chest when I hit the door, the promise of something here worth living for. I had a fight with a woman that had my kids, can't get along with anyone. What if I did? I'm going back to the corner where we used to meet when our dreams were young and nights were sweet. I'm going out tonight, going way downtown with my friends who died still hang around. See what's shaking as the leaves turn brown. Season's been and gone, but there's another one coming on, and I'm on my way downtown. Well, it was 50 years ago in the setting sun. I was walking down Union Street, I started to run down into a cellar where the music screamed. I guess it hit me harder than I ever dreamed. It was actually 60 years ago. Let me try that again. Well, it was 60 years ago in the setting sun. I was walking down Union Street, I started to run down into a cellar where the music screamed. I guess it hit me harder than I ever dreamed. In the Palace Theater Hall later on that night, there were miracles in store, but not a soul in sight. Payphone ringing didn't seem so strange. Anything could happen, everything could change. I'm going out tonight, way downtown with my friends. Hang around, all that moonlight spilling on the ground. Season's been and gone. Play it on the guitar, man. We used to gather here, flirt and laugh. Now all my dreams are cut in half. The girls are smoking cigarettes and chewing gum. They just get scared when they see me come. Way downtown, the corners moved. Sandstone slabs are worn and grooved, turning black in the first drops of rain. You can smell the earth and the sky again. Hear the rattle of the leaves, the locust call underneath the elms by the schoolyard wall. Summer's over and the fields are tall. Season's been and gone, but there's another one coming on, and I'm on my way downtown. On the way downtown. Thank you very much. If you're listening to this at home on your computer right now, there was supposed to be something about paypal.me, and I don't know how to do that. So, but you can reach me at I have this company called Boom and Chime Books at gmail.com, and that's my PayPal thing. So if you want to send thousands of dollars over there, or even any sort of donation, that's what they said to say. But I'm going to tell you a story now because I got to switch guitars. And besides, I've been alone all day and I haven't talked to anybody. So here we go. Well, I'll tell you, like during the pandemic, you know, I probably went through the same things you went through, man. Like I had like a world tour lined up, just like you probably did, and it was going to be the best year. I had a new album coming out, just like you probably did, and it was all happening, and everything was going to happen, and then everything fell flat, and I'm just sitting there in my living room, like freaking out, like you probably were, like what's going to happen? What are we going to do? And there was a piano in my living room, and all of a sudden, one day after my anxiety wore off, I realized that somebody had given me this piano, a beautiful rock and roll kind of piano called an Acrosonic, and a lot of rock and roll piano players love it, you know. And I thought, wow, man, I've always wanted to have time to play the piano, but I'm always busy going on the road and working and all this stuff. I can just get up in the morning, drink coffee, and play piano as long as I want. So that's what I started doing. And but before I got to that, I would just sit on the couch, on the end of the couch, kind of depressed. Before I realized that, and I would sit there and like with my harmonica, and I would think about my dad. I don't know why, because he played harmonica, and his dad played harmonica, and they gave me like you probably had one too, like a little toy harmonica when you were a little kid, a little blue harmonica. I had a plastic one, so I've been playing my whole life. And then one day I was sitting on the front porch of my house, and all of a sudden I've just been tootling away on the harmonica, and then I realized how to do a train sound. Wow, that is so cool, man. I was just sitting there doing that, man. I made a lot of friends just doing that. So nobody else could figure out how to do that. So anyhow, my dad was really into music, but my sisters were more into music. My big sisters were they were a lot older than me. One of them was 14 years older than me, so they were like teenagers when I was a baby, you know. And they were into Elvis. And they liked Chuck Berry, and they liked Link Ray, and they had all these singles, Ray Charles, and all this stuff. And so they would play all that stuff around the house, you know. And my dad hated Elvis. You go, that guy's a hoodlum. He's a jerk. My mom, of course, she loved Frank Sinatra. My dad hated Frank Sinatra. You go, that guy's a jerk. He's a big jerk. So when I came up, my dad liked Dixieland and liked old jazz. And he liked Louis Armstrong, Pee Wee Hunt. He liked Billy Butterfield. Stuff like that. And so one day I was in my room and I'm listening to this record of what I'm into. It's probably about 1966 or 65. And I'm listening to Bob Dylan singing, "Something's happening, but you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jones?" My dad was cutting through my room to go to the storage that was on the other side of my room. And Bob Dylan's going like, "You walk into the room like a camel and then you frown. You put your eyes in your pocket and your nose on the ground. The sword swallower crosses himself and clicks his high heels. Here's your throat back. Thanks for the loan," and all this kind of shit. My dad's, "What the hell's that supposed to be?" I'm like, "It's about you, Dad." And he got kind of mad, left the room. Of course, years later, when I had my own kids, I realized it was about me. But anyhow, my dad was into that, all that Dixieland, all big swing bands and all that shit. So I used to get up every morning on Sunday morning, man, and get the newspaper. The Buffalo Express would be there, and you would put the color, the cartoon section. I'd read like, Buck Rogers and all, Prince Valiant and all that kind of stuff. And then, Steve Canyon and Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy was interesting. They had a lot of really interesting criminals. They reminded me of some of the recent politicians that you would see in the cabinet. Mumbles and Flathead. But anyhow, huh? Prune face. And, but not to get off subject here. And so then I would spread out, I would look there, and there was this, I was like 12 years old, and there was this club in Buffalo called the Royal Arms. And it was like the local club. And I discovered that you would look at the bands coming through, and it was incredible. It would say, the Muddy Waters Band, Tuesday through Sunday. And then right below that, it would say, the Ike and Tina Turner Show, Review, Tuesday through Sunday. Everything was always Tuesday through Sunday. That's how bands went on tour. They didn't just do one night. So it would be like, Peter Case at the Mucky Duck, Tuesday through Sunday. And people would come out every night, and that's how it was. And it was like, all this different music. Chuck Berry Band, Tuesday through Sunday. The Blues Project, Tuesday through Sunday. Miles Davis Quintet, Tuesday through Sunday. And I would look at it, and it would just blow my mind. I just wanted to go to the Royal Arms so bad. And I knew it was in downtown Buffalo, and it was right next to the strip joint advertisement for the Palace Burlesque. And I could tell from their addresses they were right next door to each other, and it was right down in downtown Buffalo. And then one day so I'm listening to this record, right? And it goes like this. It's like this guy comes on playing electric harmonica, and it goes. When you got these blues and all this kind of stuff. And my dad's walking through the room, and like when he liked music, he would always have this one thing he would say, and he walks through the room and he hears this and he goes, "That's hot." And he walked out of the room. He goes, "Who is that?" And I go, "It's Butterfield." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I got a little Butterfield." Walking out of the room, I think the harmonica started sounding like the electric harmonica started sounding like a saxophone to him, so he didn't know. So anyhow, I'm looking through the newspaper one day on one of these Sundays reading the cartoons, and then I'm looking at the newspaper for the Royal Arms, and it says, Paul Butterfield Blues Band coming to the Royal Arms. I go, "Wow, Butterfield's coming to the Royal Arms." My dad goes, "He is. You want to go?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, we're going." So when the night came up, I think it was even a school night, man. This was in 1967. We got in the car and we went down to Main Street in Buffalo to go see Butterfield at the Royal Arms. And the Royal Arms was a bar, and then there was a stage right on top of the bar, stretching back to the back. And we get in there, and there's a cover charge, and there was a drink minimum. I didn't know what any of all that was, but we're in there, and my dad and mom are like all ready to hear some really nice, swinging music by Billy Butterfield Band. And the lights go down, these guys come out. Elvin Bishop's there with his huge, haircut, and Butterfield comes out all electric, man. And there's like these guys from the Chicago Art Ensemble, experimental art ensemble on bass and on horns, and like and they just rock, man. We got all these Fender amps turned up to 10, man, and they just come out and they just like rock in the house. It was like so loud. I've never heard anything like it in my whole life. And like Butterfield's just like super commanding, and he's playing electric harp and doing this whole thing. I was just like, wow. And I look over at my parents, and they're like, they go, it really surprised them. They'd never seen Billy Butterfield thing like this, And it just blew me away, man. I loved it so much. I knew that, I was just a kid, but I knew I wanted my whole life to be play music like that for people, like super intense rock and music like Butterfield was playing, And my parents, they didn't want to walk out or anything, even though it was so loud. I know it was blowing their mind, but my dad was one of those kind of guys, there was a cover charge, and he'd already paid it. He wasn't going to walk out. We'd go on family holidays, at motels were, really fresh back then. It was a brand new thing, motels. There'd be, a little motor court, and, you pulled in, and there was a motel. There'd be, about 10 rooms, and, and it would say, TV with every room, free TV. So my family would be in the motel room, and we'd wake up in the morning, it'd be 6 a.m., and my dad would be sitting over there watching test patterns on the TV. What are you doing, Dad? Getting my money's worth. So he wasn't going to walk out. So we listened to that whole show. It just blew my mind. I loved it so much. And we never spoke about it again. So we're going to do one of my father's favorite songs, a tribute to him. It's a little thing called Pennsylvania 65000. And because my dad and his brother's name was Peter Case, okay? It's my Uncle Pete. And my dad played clarinet a little bit. Pete, God bless. Pete played some slide trombone, and they were into jazz, and they would hitchhike all around the East Coast, kind of like kids these days. Get out there and they hitchhike and they go see Taylor Swift. They don't hitchhike from Taylor Swift, but maybe for the Grateful Dead. But I don't know what kids hitchhike around to see right now. Does anybody know? Peter Case shows, basically. Peter Case Youth. They come out to the shows. They're not here tonight, but they would travel all around and go see all these shows. And they told me that one time they saw Benny Goodman was at one end of the ballroom, and at the other end was Cab Calloway, and they were trading sets. That's pretty cool. So here's the song. They like Tommy Dorsey. They like Glenn Miller. It was 1938 or something, 39. The world was just about to blow up, kind of the way it is right now. And there's a huge fascist threat in Europe, but they were digging some swing music. You know this one? Pennsylvania 6. Come on. I want more than that on this. We're going out live on this. We're on the air. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. Enough of that kind of. Thank you very much for the audience participation. And yeah, so the war broke out over in Europe, and it kind of broke up the family band. And Pete, Uncle Pete, joined the Army. He was 18, and then he got shipped over to England, where he volunteered to be in the Army Air Corps, and they were flying. And then they trained him out, and they put him in these glorified tin cans with machine guns on them, called B-17s. And he sent me a picture, and it looks like punk rock, man. It's all these guys wearing leather jackets. They got combat boots on, and they're standing there, and they're trying to look tough, man. They're all about 19 or 20, man. There's about 5 or 6 guys. And then there's one guy who's a little bit older. He's about 25. He's the pilot. He learned how to fly 2 years ago. And he's going to fly the planes, and they're going to fly over and bomb Nazi, fascist enemies that are trying to take over the world over in Germany. So he was doing that, and can you imagine? I mean, that must have been scary as hell, man. And those things weren't. They had to wear those. They wore these jackets with like the thermal insulation because it was so cold on the planes because they didn't have heaters on them. These planes were made like, like really thin and cheesy, but they got the job done, I suppose. So anyhow, Pete flew a bunch of missions. On the 10th mission, he wrote a letter to my grandma Pearl. The flak is so thick over Stuttgart that looks like you could walk on it. And then he never came back from his 11th mission. He disappeared. That was it. Fighting fascism. This is the low point of this show. We're at the bottom now. We're going to come back up. That was a tough one for everybody that lost people in the war. The Veterans Day was the other day, man. So, with that in mind, we're going to completely change the subject. Oh, yeah, well, we could get to that. I would do that maybe. I don't know, I've never done it on this guitar, but maybe I could do it on this one. Want me to just take a shot at it? I haven't done it for 10 years. Here's a request. Well, I'm going to have to tune up special for it. Hold on, folks. This only takes about 30 minutes. And Pearl Times from my record called Man with the Blue Postmodern Fragmented Neo-Traditionalist Guitar. Probably my most popular record. I don't know about that, but at the time it was. And I just named it that because they said, we have to know what the name of your record is in 5 minutes. I said, it's the Man with the Blue Postmodern Fragmented Neo-Traditionalist Guitar. They said, okay. I go, why did I just say that? A lot of things in music, like if you're having a career in music, it might be the same as the line of work you're in. Like you just do stuff and then you find out about it later. Is your life like that too? And it sticks with you? Like you do stuff, you shoot from the hip, and then there you are. You get it out there, man, and then you just go for it. Trying to call your shots, but do you know all the words to this song? Because if I have trouble, I might be looking to you for some prompting down here. Okay, okay, here we go. Let's see what we can do. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Hold on. See what you had done to me. I'm just kidding. I would have needed it. Sinatra. First time I ever recorded, right, when the Plimsolls got signed to a record deal, it wasn't the first time I recorded, but the first time for a major label, and they sent us to the studio, and in Studio C was Tom Waits making Heart Attack and Vine. And then the Plimsolls were in Studio B recording their first record, and in Studio A was Frank Sinatra. And we talked to Waits, but we never did see even. Frank Sinatra was in there for 16 hours. He never even came out to use the facilities or anything. What a guy. Guy's a jerk. Here's a song that man requested. I really haven't done this for a long time. A Tennessee boy joined the U.S. Navy in 1950. He was 17. A quiet kid who never seen the ocean. His mama died his first trip at sea. He learned to work and he learned to whistle. He learned to gamble, then he learned to fight. He learned to suck a bottle and go out whoring. Somehow he learned to stagger in at night. Poor old Tom, he don't know why his teeth gotta rattle, shiver and shake. The night wind's free to blow wherever it pleases. Tom's free to walk till the cold day break. Now poor old Tom, he's telling it all. His thoughts are roaring like a waterfall. He never cared about money, and there's no doubt he never had much money to care about. Through typhoons and calms on the great Pacific, proud to be serving the USA. He worked hard on board and he got promoted. He got VD, then it went away. Now poor old Tom, he ain't right. He went out in San Francisco on a Saturday night. Sunday morning his ship set sail. Tom was resting in the Oakland jail. Now it's 35 years since his incarceration on a morals charge. The words he said to me: from the brig on Treasure Island to the institution, they treated his depression with shock therapy. Poor old Tom, he don't know he's got trouble recalling the history. At the drop of a coin, he'll start to ramble. The whole damn thing's a mystery. Now his eyes bulge out as we talk on the corner. 8 turns on the gurney, they held him down. Till one morning they wheeled him to another building, a surgery room with doctors standing round. He cried, Lord help me, as they put him under. He sailed away on an ether sea. Ever since that day, all he does is wonder, did the surgeons perform a lobotomy? Poor old Tom, this story's true. He's got nothing to show, don't want to show it to. The word for him is nevertheless. He fought for freedom, never took a free breath. Now the radios blare Newsac and Muzak. Diseases are cured every day. The worst disease in the world is to be unwanted, to be used up, then cast away. So as we make our way towards our destinations, fortunes are still made with flesh and blood. Progress and love got nothing in common. Jesus healed a blind man's eyes with mud. Poor old Tom, he don't know why his teeth got a rattle, shiver and shake. The night wind's free to blow wherever it pleases. Tom's free to walk till the cold day breaks. Poor old Tom, thanks for the request. Well, I do know how it goes. Just made it back into the set. Well, she was standing on the corner of Wonderland and Wall, waiting for the light to change and wondering where to go. Take the bottles to the grocery, sell the records to the shop, step out on the sidewalk and make some traffic stop. Cause the phones are disconnected and the landlord's at the door. The tow truck's at the curbside here to repossess the Ford. And there's a house rent party tonight. Everybody's sick. We gotta blow the roof sky high, see how much we can take. It's when they put you on the street, you can sit and watch the dawn, but there's always something you can do when your last gold dollar's gone.
He's got his double-breasted jacket and some cherry wingtip shoes, big old hat with a feather high and a pocket flask of booze. But he can't afford the treatments, and there ain't another cure. Sad to say, without more pay, he won't get well no more. Then the night falls up on Broadway, and the neon starts to shine, and the dancers in the love act getting ready for the grind. And there's a house rent party tonight, everybody shake. Oh, we're gonna blow the roof sky, see how much we can take. 'Cause I know we're gonna make it, don't care what I have to do. And I know you do the same for me as I would do for you. And there's a house rent party tonight, come on. So I bought a lucky ticket and I pinned it to the shelf. I put one away for you, baby, then I kept one for myself. I'm gonna take my winnings, I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna start a brand new band, we'll play anywhere but here. 'Cause there's nothing coming in, sugar, nothing's going out. There's nothing left to talk about if all we do is shout. There's a house rent party tonight, everybody shake. Oh, we're gonna blow the roof sky, see how much we can take. And I know we're gonna make it, don't care what I have to do. And I know you do the same for me as I would do for you. And there's a house rent party tonight. Thank you very much. Oh, here we go. I got one. Hey, you know what? Okay. Well, that's for the people at home out there. I'm switching to my. I'm going to tune my guitar a little bit. If you're driving right now and the music's getting too excited, don't forget to keep your eyes on the road. Or if it just gets real excited, just pull over and listen. How many people here have pulled over listening to music in the car? Yeah, okay, I've had to pull over. First time I ever heard James Brown sing I'm Real, I had to pull over. It's like, oh my God. That sounds really far out. There we go. When I was a kid, I studied with this guy who was like a jazz guitar player named Pete Haskell. And he was teaching me how to play jazz. And he was like a real cool, swinging kind of guy. And I didn't know at the time, but there had always been this really famous band in Buffalo called the Ravens. They were the first rock and roll band in Buffalo, and they were very famous. But you'd hear them on the radio. But I'd never realized Pete was in the band because he was embarrassed that he had a rock and roll past. Because he only was into jazz, man. So he'd come in anywhere like a shark skin suit and like pointed toe shoes, and he'd have these shades on and his hair all slicked back. He'd go, "Hey, Peter, how you doing, man? Did you learn Satin Doll?" And I would, yeah. It was like 12 years up to now. You know, I learned Satin Doll. And he goes, "Well, this week we're going to learn Violets for Your Furs." Like, I'm 14 years old, man. Violets for Your Furs. What the hell is that about? But he told me things like, when you start listening to Charlie Parker, man, like, you can't go back. Like, you're going to listen to far-out jazz harmonies. You won't be able to listen to your rock and roll anymore because it'll hurt your ears. The chords have names like 13 flat 5, flat 9 chords. Once you get into 13 flat 5, flat 9 harmonies, rock and roll just, we'll never listen to it again. It's really nothing. And then I found out, that he was like in this. He was the original rocker in Buffalo. He was like in the band with Stan Zales. They were the original Hawks up in Toronto. They were the first rock. I met Garth Hudson, and he says, Stan and the Ravens taught the Hawks how to play rock and roll. That's what Garth told me. These guys taught him how to play rock and roll, but now the guy won't even admit that he played rock and roll. And he's my teacher. So I'm trying to learn Violets for Your Furs, which I couldn't get my head around. Billie Holiday, like, now that I'm nearly 70, I really enjoy her version of Violets for Your Furs. I've enjoyed it for years, but and her version of it is beautiful. But like at that point, you couldn't even hear it on the internet or anything. You had to, like, I don't know what. One time I took a bus all the way from the suburbs into Buffalo just to listen to Charlie Parker at the library. And it was like a 30-mile bus ride, and I got in there and then went in there and I heard Charlie Parker with strings at the library. It was an eye-opener. But Pete, because I told Pete, I got to hear Charlie Parker, man. I don't want to go back to rock and roll. So anyhow, I'm trying to learn Violets for Your Furs, which is a really complicated song. Joe Pass and all these guys, And then I'm listening to the radio, and these guys come on the radio. Da na 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 na. I go, that's cool. So I figured it out at home, That sounds pretty bad right now. But that's what I figured out how to do it, Proud Mary, right? So I go in, and Pete's like, did you work on Violets for Your Furs? I said, no, I worked on this. He's like, Peter, what are you doing? You're killing me. He goes, that's terrible. And it was right then that I realized that I wasn't going to be able to be a jazz guy. I loved Pete and everything, but I was going to have to play rock and roll. Because it was my music of my people. So there you go. A jazz career down the tubes. Hey man, it's all jazz. That's what you realize when you're about my age. Well, we had a great big double bed by the window on the street. We never had much money then, but life and love were sweet. Then we moved to the Hotel Baker, corner of Polk and Pine. Rain fell non-stop 40 days and everything was fine. One summer day in San Joaquin, we hit the county fair. I played my show, it was time to go, but something held me there. So we went out to a racetrack, charmed by an inside tip. I bet everything I had on the 7th race. Watch that damn horse trip. Now if I go crazy, I will lose my mind. Before it all goes hazy, baby, try me one more time. Try me one more time. Just try me one more time. Try me one more time. Try me one more time. So she rode in on a milk-white mule through the trumpets and the cavaliers, alive to the bright adventure of the streets, and chased my fears. Now I can talk to anyone, know what's in their heart, go anywhere in the world I want, even make a brand new start. But if I go crazy, I will lose my mind. Before it all goes hazy, baby, try me one more time. Come on. Now the mayor's on the downtown stage, looking like she's half asleep. president's in conference now, making promises he can't keep. But I have got the superpowers everybody does. Whoever helps somebody out and done it just because. Who'll never answer later, asked to lend a hand, who never turn their eyes away when asked to understand. Cause if I go crazy, I will lose my mind. For it all goes hazy, baby. Please try me one more time. 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 Thank you. You know what they say when you're in this business is like, you don't play for your fans, you play for their dates. If you can make it with them, it's going to work out. Here's one about a place in California. Well, a convicted full-time burglar made a prison break. He lasted 3 weeks on the run, got as far as the next day. So they brought him back and sentenced him 15 years of hell. Sent him to the shoe at Pelican Bay in a solitary cell. Well, he said there's nothing to it, to himself as they slammed the door. On an 8x10-foot cubicle, a bed and not much more. It's the Pelican Bay Supermax, no calendar to count the days of endless isolation, lost in a one-room maze. Now there's 2 million people in prison down in the USA. 50,000 in Supermax and a hunger strike on Pelican Bay. Made himself a chess set out of blanket land, but the guards were feeling angry, so they confiscated it. For the slightest of infractions, extracted from his cell. Pretty soon he got a broken jaw, and the guard just says he found. Now there's 2 million people in prison now in the USA. 80,000 in solitary and a hunger strike on Pelican Bay. It ain't no kind of justice, it's a system of abuse. There ain't no courts watching over it. Politicians say, what's the use? We got the highest rate of incarceration in the world. The prisoners are brown and black. Well, it's a brand of slavery. Everybody knows the deck is stacked. Now there's 2 million people in prison down in the USA. 80,000 in solitary and a hunger strike on Pelican Bay. Pelican Bay. Pelican Bay, Pelican Bay. Thank you. All right. Wonderful. Blue Distance, here's one we could do. What's the other one? All right, I'll go back to the other guitar then. We're getting some requests on the other guitar. We'll try to get some of those. I don't know how long I've been playing. I have no idea. If Harry, give me like a 5-minute warning or something. What? It was 5 minutes ago. I have 1 hour left?
About 12 minutes.
What's that?
About 12 minutes.
12 minutes? That's only enough time to play Inagata Davida. Well, I'll play one of those requests, and I'll play my last song. You might have to turn this up again, man. We're going back to this guitar. You reading me? Go ahead and turn it up, man. Okay, I'll see if I can play. Somebody requested Cold Trail Blues. I'll play that one. So it's like Chris Smither recorded this song. It's a song I wrote. I haven't played it for a really long time, but I'll try to play it. Gold trap blues I could use any kind of sign that you're still on the line. Gold trap blues, I've been searching around the world for you. No matter how I call, I'm no closer at all. It's almost like you never came. I swear I've almost lost your name. You still mean so much to me. I swore your love would set me free. Cold drab blues, something I need that I just can't find. Is it too late now? Am I too far behind? There's a whole new crowd out there, and they just don't seem to care. Still I keep searching through the gloom. I'll find your trail right through this room. Gold drab blues, something I need that I just can't see. Is it too late now? Are you inside of me? Old trip blues I could use any kind of sign that you're still on the line. Gold drab blues. All right, thank you. All right. I know one more song here. I'm gonna play one more. I got time for one more song. It's a little thing called Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. The 13-minute version. But here we go. Now, this is a song I wrote. It was about a situation I got. I've been arrested in every town I've ever lived in. That's just, in the songwriting world, that's just called deep research. And, I got arrested for, it's usually a case of mistaken identity. I swear. Like, I got caught up in a thing where they thought I'd robbed the Treasury in San Francisco. And it was a real misunderstanding, because the only reason I was there while that guy was robbing the Treasury was because he owed me $100. And I knew that if I didn't get the money from him right then when he robbed the Treasury, like, I was never going to get it from this guy. So we ended up in a mental institution after that one. But I got out of that one. Mistaken identity. Then there was the time I was driving in the car with my friend Jeffrey Pierce. Jeffrey Lee Pierce was his name. He had a band called the Gun Club. And they invented blues punk. And sort of. And so we're driving in the car. We're going up to the liquor store to get some more stuff on a foggy night in San Francisco, or in Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles. And we pull out around the corner, and I take a right on a red. You can do that in California, but for some reason the cop goes, "Pull over." I'm like, oh no. I've got some unpaid tickets on the car. I've just come back from tour, and
Not there. Pull over farther down the road.
he's like already really mad and pulled over in the wrong place. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't take care of those tickets, and there's a warrant out for my arrest. And I don't have a driver's license. And the car's not registered. I forgot about all those things when I went on the road for 3 months with the Plimsolls. Guy comes walking up, he's all jaunty, he's got his hat on it. Goes, "Let me see the driver's license and registration." I'm like, oh no. So I start going like this, like looking all around the car for like a registration. And I knew there wasn't one, but I was like looking for a miracle, you know. You know, sometimes you just gotta hold out and wait for a miracle, you know. So I'm like, look, maybe my registration's in the back seat. Looking all around, the cops, while I'm doing that, Jeffrey opens up the glove compartment, and like these tickets come fluttering out. And the cop looks over at him and he goes, "What's your name?" He's got his flashlight on Jeffrey, and he goes, "Jeffrey Pierce, sir." "Are you Jeffrey Lee Pierce?" "Yes, sir." "Are you in the Gun Club?" "Yes, sir." "You guys are pretty good. I saw you at the Music Machine. Tell your friend here, you know, why don't you drive him home? He doesn't seem like he's together enough. He's got to take care of the stuff on this car, okay? I'm going to let you guys go." And we're just sitting there like. We wondered, why did that cop go to see Jeffrey? We figured he was just driving by and he saw a big sign that said Gun Club, and he went in to investigate. That's all we could think of. So, anyhow, there was another adventure I had where I got picked up for something that I didn't do. I didn't do it, you know. I was just in a proximity. And so we're going to sing a song about it now, because when they let me, the cop goes, "You can go." It was a detective, and he goes, "You can leave." I go, and then he goes, and then he says to me, I'm looking at him, and he looks me right in the eye, and he goes, "Somebody told the truth." I'm a songwriter, man. And when titles show up, they sometimes float in on the air, spelled out in red in the air above the guy. It said, "Somebody told the truth." I'm like, thank you. And I went out in the parking lot, and I opened up the glove compartment, and I took out some unpaid tickets, and I wrote the whole thing down on a couple of them. And so I got this song. Now, I learned when I was writing songs that you can't just have a title like "Somebody Told the Truth." It just sits there. And so what you got to do is you got to make it into something. So I made it into this. Somebody told, they told the truth to somebody told the truth to somebody. Somebody told, they told the truth to somebody told the truth. It's easy to sing along with this one if you want. You just go, somebody told, they told the truth to somebody told the truth to somebody. The way to remember it is, There's 4 little sections to it. When I hold up one finger, that's somebody. And it goes, a somebody. Okay? That's it. Now, when I hold 2 fingers up, you go, somebody told. So you go, a somebody, somebody told. Somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. I think that's 5 words. So you go, a somebody, somebody told. They told the truth to somebody, somebody told the truth to some. Yeah. They told the truth to somebody, somebody told the truth. The third one starts with they, not somebody. So you go, a somebody, somebody told. You got to get a swing on it, though. They told the truth to somebody. Truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth. Let's leave it at that. If you feel like doing jumping in, we're not going to. We've only got like 6 more minutes, so we better. When you're trying to teach people this stuff, it reminds me of like recording sessions I've been on where you're like trying to show somebody how something, they're trying to show you how it goes. I had a guy one time say to me, all right, it was Peter Asher, and he goes, all right, Peter, play it one more time with the correct notes, please. You know, you don't want to hear that. So I'm just going to sing the song. You can give me the beat, though. Here we go. Or you can do a Beatle beat. Yeah. Well, the courthouse emptied out. The jurors all went home. Lawyers, he's a guilty house. The cops are on their own. The soldiers left the camp. The prisoners were freed. Generals disappeared. The prisoners were freed because somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth to somebody. Somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth. The theater shut the door, the radio went dead. The stadium was silent, not a word was said. The dots were all connected, lines were barely drawn. The secrets not kept hidden were left out in the dark. Cause somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth to some. Yeah. Yeah, they told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth to some. All right, here comes the stunning conclusion here. Stay tuned. The starving men and women, for once they got their fill. The children of the highway were high up on the hill. The politicians vanished. They must have caught a plane. The clandestine policemen were left out in the rain. I sat down on the sidewalk. I rubbed my eyes and coughed. I rubbed my wrists and ankles, and I thanked the Lord above that somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth to somebody. Yeah, somebody told. They told the truth to somebody. Somebody told the truth. Thanks a lot, everybody out there, on-air audience. Thank you. That was it. I got one more jam, but maybe in my pocket. We're going to wrap up. There we go. We're off the air, and I'm going to play one more song. One more song. Whoa.